Hi, it's Roger Hamilton with a final video about the Millionaire Master Plan and how to make sure that you're able to move forward with the steps within it, even if you're starting with nothing. So how does that work? It's by understanding there's a value chain. And this value chain allows us to be able to move from just a seed and an idea all the way through to ripples that can actually reach out far, far, far further than you're able to focus at yourself. Two simple things to start with before I go through the value chain, where there's a total of 10 values that you can focus at from the first all the way upwards that allow you to access every level of the lighthouse. First thing I want to share is something which is called the law of 3 steps removed. And this is about the fact that as we go through life, especially with anything new that we're learning, we might start with this concept of action, which is that we got to kind of do something. Even if you want to get on the motorway, you've got to start by turning on the car, taking certain actions which are physical actions before the car can even move. From the action, take 2 letters in front of action, which is T and R, and we get something called traction. And traction is where you've actually now got the gear in. It's actually now the engine can actually move, so you don't have to do all the work yourself. And this is where the lighthouse comes in, that there's certain things that allow you to leverage those actions, to leverage that value that moves you up. Then that moves to the third one, which is put 2 letters in front of that, which is A and T, and you get another word called attraction. You know, if you've ever heard anything about the law of attraction, this idea, isn't it amazing if you're in the fast lane in the motorway, your destination gets attracted to you so much faster? The reason it's getting attracted isn't because it just magically shows up, it's because you've already got momentum towards it. And the way to get to that is by knowing that there's these 3 steps that allow you to move there. So the law of 3 steps removed is how that works. It works on the basis that when you meet up with someone, like if I met up with you, then there are certain things that will have an impact on you, which is first step removed. Which means between me and you, there are certain things which are either going to make me attractive to you, make me someone that you're going to pass on and share about with others, or not. And there's some specific values we're going to get to, which allow me to make an impression with you, and vice versa, which you can already be doing today. It costs you no money whatsoever. But if you want to actually get to the second level, which is all about you doing more than just the things for you, it's having others supporting you as well, you need to have something which is strong enough in your identity and who you are, that effectively this moves to other people talking about you. Think about it like this. Think about this being like the trunk of a tree, where that tree then has branches which can get out far further. And at this level, other people are talking about you because there's certain things that you are doing or that you've added value to them with that makes it worth them speaking to others about you. So this is the people that you know. These are the people that you don't know, but people you know spoke to them. And then you get to the third level, which is if there's people who you don't know, who there was such an impression of what they learned about you, they then went to the people that they knew, and they also shared that. So now you're actually not just in the branches, but you're like right out on the twigs of the tree. And guess what? That's when you actually find all of the fruit. All of the fruit on the tree does not sit in the trunk. It doesn't sit in the roots. It doesn't sit even in the kind of core base branches. It actually is right out at the edges of the tree. That's why we say it's the law of 3 steps removed. When you actually have mastered these 3 steps, you're going to have people all over the world who are, or in your community or in your niche, who are going to be sharing about you, and you're going to know it's happening because that attraction happens. The phone goes, the emails go, and you're getting people you didn't even know of who say, oh, I heard about you from someone else who you also didn't know of. So how do you actually make that work in such a way that you've actually got the universe working for you? And the way you do it is by understanding that there are a total of 10 different values which allow all money to flow and which allow you to get yourself from action through to attraction. Let's start first of all with not the first 6, because those ones, as we'll see, don't cost you any money. Let's start with these ones above the line here, which is 7, 8, 9, and 10, which you'll be much more familiar with, because these are ones up here are called your external values. Your external values are the ones that we can see because they're the ones that drive our markets. Your internal values are the ones that create the law of 3 steps removed. The internal values are the ones that you can generate with no money whatsoever. So by starting with these ones, and you can kind of see how they work, we're then going to end with these ones, which you can then action straight away. External values. All money in the world flows as a result of 4 things. And I'll keep going up this way as I have. We've got number 7, 8, 9, and 10. these external values are also split into two groups, of which these two are something called retail values. What's a retail value? Every time you spend any money, so this is money spent. Every time you spend any money on retail value, you get something of value, but you don't get the money back. So for example, number 8 here is something that fulfills a need. Fulfills a need? So for example, you need education, you need shelter, you need travel to get to work. These are things that you need, and so you're going to spend whatever money you need to have them. You know, United Nations has these human rights, so they say all humans have a right to these certain needs. Then you've got something here, which is now our consumer society, which are things that fulfills a want. A want is not a need. You know, you might need to get from A to B, but you can take a bus to get there. But you might decide to get there by a Ferrari. Well, guess what? That's going to cost you a lot more. This is a premium that you're going to spend on it. You're still not going to get any return on that money. It's still money spent, but you're going to make decisions with the money you're just spending as to whether or not you need this or whether you want this. And in your business, there's certain things that either people need or people want. Secondly, all of this, which is actually wholesale values, this is much, much bigger, and wholesale values is all about your money not spent, but invested. All this money is about, I mean, this is actually over 90% of all the money that flows in the world is actually up here, where there's a return on investment. There's something here which is called wholesale value, where someone is doing something which is called component value, where you're linking your product with someone else, and as a result of that, you're getting like for example, when Bill Gates got started, he wasn't just going out and selling to the consumer his software, he was linking it with the PC manufacturers, and that allowed there to be a component that they were willing to buy so they could actually make even more money selling those PCs. So in a lot of business, whether it's selling a franchise, you know, whether it's someone getting a job, there's component value taking place, which is making money flow. Or there's investment value, which is not about innovation, it's about timing, where someone's buying in the stock market, in the property market, in the currency market. These are all investment value markets where all this money flows every single day, and it's not fulfilling just being spent where you don't get it back. It's actually money making money. By you knowing that you can progress this through in your business allows you to actually upgrade the business. All the billionaires in the world are not getting there by making the money here. They're all getting there through component and investment value. So let's just take one step back and say, well, that's fine once you've got a business going, but how do we get started? And the answer is, you get started by knowing that there are 6 internal values, and these internal values, you already have them to some level within yourself. There is the first 2, which sit right in the center. So these ones here at the very center are the ones that we call our core values. And they're the ones that you were born with, but you might have forgotten. One of them, which is the number 1 here, in fact, I'll write them both here, right? So number 1 here is something called your passions. It's the things you just love to do. Number 2 is talents, which is everything we already talk about within our different tests, like for Genius tests and Wealth Dynamics. Those are your talents. You rediscover these as you go through life. Then we have the next 2, which are the ones that you don't rediscover. These are your mid-values. These are the ones that we acquire for the first time as we go through life. We have number 3 down here, which is something called our knowledge. And our knowledge are the things we know, the things we've learned, our skills. 4 is our network, which are all about the people we know. Your resume, your CV will be all about your knowledge and your network more than your passions and talents. But it's the passions and talents which actually allow us to go first step removed. That's what people notice about us when they first meet us. Your knowledge and network is what's going to make you second step removed, where people go say, oh, I know this person who can do this. So you need to build those, so you're going to go to second step removed. And then we go to third step, which is the people who don't know you. Think about someone whose book you read, where you go, wow, this person's so inspiring, I'm going to pass this book on to someone else. You didn't even know that person. They don't know you, but you're already passing that on to someone else that you know. That's third step removed, where you're actually now up to this level, which we call your key values, because they're the ones that open all the doors. Your key values is number 5, something called your character, which is your conduct. And number 6 is your purpose, which is your contribution. And those are the ones that allow you to move yourself up towards Alchemy Prism. They're the ones that, as you're connecting on those, get you third step removed, and they become super important as you're actually looking to create your path in life as well. You can measure each one of them to see exactly where you're at. And the most important thing is, by knowing these internal values, it allows you to be able to tap in to a different type of power. that there are three powers that are out there. And whether it's the elected power, which is like a wind-up radio, where every day you've got to keep on motivating yourself to get going, whether it's the next step, which is connected power, which happens because you've now got a network of people that are connecting in with you, a bit like a radio that doesn't have to be wound up. You can plug it into the socket. Or the third level, which actually goes beyond even when you disconnect. Because you know what it's like. If you're in a team and you disconnect, you can suddenly feel all alone again. But if at the third level you can disconnect that radio and it still plays, that's like solar power now. That's not connected power, that's reflected power. That's the third step where you've actually got a movement, a swell, where the flow of everyone around you already just lifts you up and allows you to get into your flow. And that's when truly you end up having a life which literally sweeps you off your feet. These are the three powers that come from the three different steps removed. And if you get these 6 just mastered, where every day you're saying, how can I just improve on my passions, my talents, my knowledge, my network, my character, my purpose, they all lead through at every level of the lighthouse as you step up to the level above.